And hello, we are back. What is up, Numena? I wanted to introduce you to LSD, not the drug, but a game. This is Osamu Sato's website, and he's very passionate about his art. You see this art, and it's visually uh, very different, and a lot of elements carry over throughout the generations of his work. Um, there's common themes behind it, and he's also a composer, musical composer. Uh, See, we could see all this here. So we are going, what we're looking at today. Uh, he later expanded activities to major market and made a debut as a multimedia artist for Sony. He released several music, games, and video contents highly recognized. Among these was LSD Dream Emulator for the PlayStation. Um, it was praised as an art masterpiece for his music making. Is that a knock at the door? I don't think so. And so he had this vision. He wanted the PlayStation to be um he wanted it to serve as a canvas, as a medium for his art, and he was able to incorporate his painting, his visual art style, and his musical art style, and he created a game, a disc you could put in the PlayStation and have an experience. And I think I find this relevant to uh, your goals, um, because you're not doing VR as like the game, which is kind of how it's like been out. It's about the experience, about touching something within a person that's not just meant to like entertain or be seen as a game. It's meant as an experience. So I want to do a little look into LSD Dream Emulator. Um, it was released for the PlayStation, and he likes to describe it as a playable dream. You are first person, and it's based on the dream diaries, a dream journal of an employee at the company he was at. Uh, and it's been regarded as like a crazy thing. I mean, it did come out in '98. He did have previous releases, which would include one that I've also played, that being Eastern Mind, the second one. Yes, this one, which is a point and click. It was a PC game, but it exhibited his art, it exhibited his music, and um that's the reason it was made. It was a very strange game. There wasn't exactly a play. It was kind of a puzzle game. But we look at LSD Dream, and there's no objective. There's no puzzle to figure out. There's no end. It's it just goes on. It's about experiencing it. And that's what I wanted to like take a look at because I'm very familiar with this um game, and it kind of made a very vivid I felt it was very relevant to what you guys are doing. And so I just um let me unmute it. Turn it up a bit. I find it kind of relevant. But these are just clips of real life. Put onto a CD-ROM that was playable. So what does this game look like? Why do I feel the need to talk about it? Um, I guess I could just play it. You guys will see. So this is like the pause menu, the inactive kind of screen. We start playing and this is what we see. I've already been playing on this one. Do a quick save. And let's go ahead. So every time you start the game, well, this is different. Actually, I can't read Japanese. I don't know what this says. Oh man, that is interesting. My apologies. My apologies. My apologies. I've been distracted. So there will be those instances where there's a narrative, but this is the standard for most days. What we're about to witness here. I'll kind of bump up that volume. But this is a normal day. We're starting inside of our apartment. We see the same thing every day. Walk around. This guy's kind of mean. So what's going on? As you make physical contact with the world around you, you're transported to a different map, realm, location. So this is one of these locations. If we stand by, there's something regular that happens. Don't embarrass me. There we go. There's always an elephant here. Is there an explanation for it? No, there never is. But I can rely on it always showing up. And though I'm looking up, it's gonna go higher than I can see it. And it'll eventually disappear. I can make the choice to hop down there. I can run into any one of these surfaces. I could just keep running into that wall and it would take me somewhere. So maybe the obvious thing to do would be to go through one of these gates. But I'd just like to show it as an example. Just keep running into an object and you're taken somewhere else. So this is another realm. We can look, there's borders, rolling hills. And the whole incentive is, what is this? You interact with what you see around you, takes you somewhere else. If I'm not mistaken, there's 6 locations you can go to. This one's called Happy Town. It's fun. You know, there's trains, there's toys. But there is a distinct atmosphere. Once you get used to the game, there is a distinct atmosphere created. And if you stand around long enough, you fall asleep. Or you wake up, rather. And you're given a rating that's to this day still not understood. You're given a scale, a notation. There's a value from your dream. Oops. You know, we're back here and look. There's our friend. Oh no. The scan lines are a little over the top. Never occurred. You sure? New properties. Remove. Okay. It's the scan lines. That's strange. There we go. It is actually those were effects I had. This is what it would look like, kind of raw. I am running on emulation, but I do stream, and it creates the ambiance. But all of these assets and the soundtrack, very intentional. That was the creator's design intention. A medium in which he could express both his visual creativity and audio. It's an open world with no objective. And this is one of my favorite games. Here's a grand mystery. The Hat Man. This location showcases significant landmarks. You have Big Ben here, the Easter Island heads. You have the bridge, Empire State, a windmill. I'm not sure either. The Sphinx, Paris, Eiffel Tower. And look, I was just walking around and decided I was done for the day. It said we had a slightly static game, but it wasn't really downer or upper. And we move on. quickly save because it likes to crash sometimes. But if this has been any bit interesting, I would highly encourage, um, I'm playing this completely free of charge. And in fact, there's a you can briefly revisit. I'll turn back on my display. On his official site, he endorses LSD revamped. Oh, darn. LSD revamped is a kind of what you guys are doing, crowd funded and worked on recreation of the original game. That's available to play on on a desktop computer instead of needing to get the emulator like I'm running a. Does it say here? I've already kind of modified. See, I'm. This is actually Duck Station, and then I have to get the ROM for it. If this is any bit interesting, I highly recommend. If you don't want to go as far as getting the whole emulator and software and all this stuff, there's also English translated versions. But once you become familiar with these different locations, there's things you'll see. That's gonna take me somewhere else. There's a bell or a taiko drum I can go to, and it'll play as I pass by. And it's very surreal, but you eventually gain familiarity with these places, and it's somewhat intimate. The smallest thing that's out of place will draw your attention. There's no objective to this game. It's just going around and going between these realms, these locations. And look at where we're at. We've been here before. And this is the one I was kind of most excited to show you guys. This one you're kind of invited to investigate murder. There are signs throughout this location that, you know, what's with the hole in that windshield. Sometimes there's a child playing between these warehouses. Oftentimes there's a soda can that you follow the trail and it leads you to a clue. There it is. It invites you to explore in this direction. So you can look around some. And you can end up engaging with... I should just show up here. We look at this and these are lifeless bodies. They go this way. And I think it plays off of what makes books so much better than the movie. It's the fact that, yes, you, the basis is a world painted by someone with text, with speech. But there's no imagery involved. You have to fill in those gaps. You make it real on your own. And so when there's so many missing details, you get to be a part of it. You feel involved. You know, am I the murderer? Am I supposed to find this murderer? Where have I not been? What clues am I missing? And it's surrounded by this atmosphere of such an interesting soundtrack that I'll kind of show a little bit more in detail about later. Who's this gentleman? You approach him. You're gone. Look back. He's there. It does so much with so little. See, we're back in what I was calling Happy Town, but it's brighter. The couple that was dancing in here, they're gone now. But what's consistent? These guys are sick, man. It's brighter. Maybe it's daytime now. And it just decides you're done with the dream. And this was a very mid-dream. Shoot, I didn't mean to. Oh, you know what that means? You hear that sound? That means we get to see the spaceman. Ignore these guys. They're always mean. They run away. But that little trombone was the sound of him flying over. He learned these little things. See if we can hang out with the lions. It's a world that begged to be explored. You can't see too far over the horizon. You don't know if you've been somewhere before, exactly. So many of these assets are reused that you just feel the need to explore somewhere even if it seems familiar. It does so much with so little. And I ask you to keep in mind, it took a lot of passion and desire to make this program exist. There was a vision in mind that had to be drawn out. I haven't made a video game, but I've used Blender, and it's a little too easy to make something happen. There needs to be an incentive or a conscious effort to not allow the tools to make the vision, but that you're the sculptor. You're the human trying to add to human existence, to experience, and not allow software and tools to influence your decisions. We're so spoiled. It's so easy to create something, honestly, that we have to keep in mind. Don't let the software I'm using create it for me. If you're quick, you can catch the train without dying. Which I think is cool. And there it is. What was that? It gets to be a fresh experience every night, because you're unsure of exactly what's gonna pop up. And you know what? After you hit 365 days, it starts the game over. There's no reward. So you've seen the visual aspect, some of the gameplay. So oh no, my display's been on this whole time instead of the game. Are you sure? Yes. We can look at these and we'll see each of these locations has an associated track or audio that you'll hear. And then so we spawn location was Bright Moon. We never saw Clockwork Machines. We didn't see the Flesh Tunnels. We saw Happy Town. We saw Kyoto once. We didn't see Long Hallway. We saw Monument Park. We didn't get to Moonlight Tower. There's all these locations that we didn't see, but they exist. And here's the brilliance. Blank Space A. They're all the same song. And this is where you may have heard like uh, limitation breeds creativity. These are essentially the same MIDI tracks, but they use different sound fonts, different instruments, and each 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 one is very different. If we had continued to play, you'd see that even being in the same world, they eventually replace the textures that are applied to the world. It's the same um, assets, but the textures are different, and you'll get a different audio version with it. Uh, I like the Violence District stuff. So we have the bass track. You could call that the original in the same piece, just a different instrumentation. So we see this repeated throughout. Um, I like the Bright Moon Cottage one too. But this was bred out of, they didn't save each of these like files. It was, they had the tracker set up for it, the playback, and they were ran through different instruments. Um, one of my one from a different game, he had uh, mm, not called Milky Way. My apologies. I really should just have these things saved up. There's a very obvious you have a PowerPoint ready for your videos. I obviously don't. My apologies. Hmm. And there it is. Okay. This one just has an allure on me. So, what's with the rant? What did all this mean? Did you waste all of your time watching this? Maybe. What was I trying to communicate? I appreciate if you've stuck around this long. What I'm trying to communicate is there was very much limited um capabilities of not only the hardware that they were running on, but uh, the development tools. But they had a vision in mind. They wanted this to exist in the way that it did, and they made it happen. And today, there is just a function for everything. Uh, 50 years ago, we had films that they were recorded on a reel, and if you wanted to make a cut, you had to cut it, tape them together, and it was very meticulous, and everything was very intentional. You didn't waste time uh, producing something mediocre. There was a lot of intention behind every action. I didn't realize I was pink this whole time. I'm so sorry. Uh, can we get a little back to... There we go. Everything was very meticulous, done with intention. The great sculptures of the Romans, they didn't, haphazardly just start going at it with the chisel. They saw what they wanted to make first, and they made it. And when you can do it the other way around, when you can build it out from the center, it's easy to get complacent and reliant on the tools to create an image. And what you guys are doing is too it's too special to like let that happen. It's the focus is the human experience. It can't be built by the technology. It has to be brought forth with a vision that was born in the mind. And that's what's gonna make it human and attractive. Because you look at some of these video games now with AI infinite generation or intelligent, I'll say generation of different locations that make themselves, and it's random. It's not beautiful. There's no intention behind it. There's code behind it, but there's no soul behind it. And that stuff already exists, and it's perpetuated by the companies that don't care enough to put their heart and soul into this intentional world. The allure is that it's different, that it's an infinite, and it's very cheap. And it would be a waste to have these weekly discussions you have of your philosophies and design intention, like understanding how the brain works as you're creating this thing. Do not let these tools do the work for you. There's an invaluable um, investment you can make in uh, drawing out like something that is in your head. There's no guidelines to piggyback on. There's no tools to help you make this effect. It's not easy to do. But if the vision you have is strong enough, you can get a pencil and paper and turn a vision into something you can share with others that they will see. I don't know, I guess that's all it is. This has been Isaac Garibay. I appreciate if you've stayed with us this long, and if you found any value in what I was trying to express. That's the end of the video there. If you're sticking around, I'll share a little bit of reference who I am, where my mind is. Um, I'm a diagnosed schizophrenic. I I stream. Uh, I do like Twitch live streams of games. Um, I'm a musician for as a hobbyist. I don't make money doing it. I don't make money doing this. Um, and I have, I believe, an unhealthy tendency to live in my mind. I don't get myself out of it. Um, and I don't take action on a lot of things. I allow myself to consider, to debate, to weigh in my head. Um, but I also have very decided taste. And I haven't been the least bit impressed by anything AI has created. Uh, let's look at how it was built. You guys know technology. These are language models. They're fed things that exist. So what are they doing? They're regurgitating this information. They're picking apart um, data to try and produce something that would be intelligible to the human on the other side of the interface. It doesn't have the capacity for originality. It is just regurgitated raw data that it had enough time to find commonalities within, and it produces something that, after enough time spent working on it, is intelligible. But that doesn't make it any form of art. It doesn't make it valuable to me. Um, I think the language model itself is an incredible feat of human ingenuity and pushing the technology to its limits. But I can't appreciate anything creative that it produces. It doesn't. It can tell you information. You can use it like a textbook reference. It can tell you things that it knows. When you ask it to create something, that's just not what it does. If you have the creativity to form uh this grandiose prompt, this very specific prompt, you should be able to visualize that on your own. There's of course those that make the hyper specific prompt um in the interest of what will this language model produce from it, but it shouldn't be construed as art. It should be looked at as what did this language model produce with all the information and um, references it's been fed. Um, this might be taboo on the Discord. I apologize. But I'm adamant on my beliefs. Uh, I was created in God's image. That everyone on this earth is created from God. What does that mean? Well, in my faith, God created the heavens and the earth. He had a vision. Nothing existed. I've previously rationalized uh combining evolution and Big Bang with creationism. It's kind of intuitive, but God has been the greatest engineer. Uh, Animals, we're animals, can self reproduce and self heal. If we're healthy, if we eat right, if we work out, if we're active, we will get over sicknesses. We have like immune systems, beautiful engineering. And this doesn't happen randomly. This isn't um, trial and error. This is a clear, that's what makes it beautiful, that there's a clear intention behind our conception. Why wouldn't other species have uh, the consciousness and the ability to formulate language and do all of these things as we do to the extent that we do? They're not capable. They weren't designed to do so. We were made in God's image. Why do I bring that up? Because God created from nothing but an image in his mind, and this is beyond us, but created the means, was able to create the setting in which this thing could emanate, could exist. Man, earth. We're created in his image, but we're nowhere close to that level. What can we do? We can look at what does exist, but part of being made in his image is being able to imagine something that doesn't exist. And it doesn't matter if you have the most robust vocabulary and you wrote a, a trilogy of novels trying to describe an image. If you spent a decade straight trying to describe starry night to someone on the other side of a veil, they could not reproduce that image. Try as we may, language is just limited. The mind can bring forth, can envision something so profound and beautiful that you need to take the time to work and hone in on skills that bring forth that image. That's what's gonna make what you're doing beautiful and unique. Being true to that. We're surrounded every day by things designed by a machine. You're telling me a man sculpted this out of clay? No. This was made in CAD software. This isn't beautiful. It's utilitarian, but all these sharp lines don't exist in nature. It's not natural. Don't be a part of that movement. That's you're dropping the bucket and white noise if you go that route. Have the conviction. Listen to the team members. And be inspired to bring forth the vision you were gifted with being able to envision. And don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it. This is the most rewarding thing you can do. Look, anyone could fucking sit in front of a camera and talk. Anyone could pick up an instrument and do random stuff until they think it sounds good. Anyone can auto-tune. Don't let the tools do the work for you. Let them be something that is able to help you bring your image with ease. You get to create this project you're working on in software. You don't have to write it in assembly, is what I'm getting at. It was very unique. I'm very glad the YouTube algorithm recommended Andrea's video, which had 10 views at the time that I was recommended. But I don't know the opposite of the word disheartening. Encouraging, maybe? But it brings my soul joy to know there's still a group that can get together and appreciate the intricacies of the human mind and not create something just for the sake of creating it. And that's going to be recognized. Dankeschön.